If you disappeared for 2 weeks, no phone, no email, no Slack, could your business deliver a single thing, right? Not just survive, but deliver, right? Produce the actual work your clients pay for. If the answer is no, then your processes are broken. And until you fix that, nothing else that you build will matter. So what is a process system? Kind of sounds redundant, but it's not. It's something specific. It's where your repeatable work lives. It's not just the creative thinking or the strategy or the relationship management that might make you exceptional. This is a regimented, repeatable, predictable, happens every time level of work. You see how it lends itself to automation. So every business has these processes of onboarding, creating your deliverables, sending invoices, following up with clients, and closing out a project, right? But a process system means that these things are documented, followable, and executable by someone who isn't you. That's the definition we're working with here. It doesn't have to be perfect, not fully optimized, but having something written down such that someone else could do it is the most important thing to start. Process is an important place to start because everything else depends on it, right? You can't identify where the waste is if you don't know what steps are leading to wasteful processes. You can't know if something is unnecessary if you haven't taken the time to see what goes into producing the necessary things. You'll never know that something is degrading unless you have a process as a model to compare to and see what has fallen off along the way. And you can't build memory into your business if you don't have a standard way of expressing the things that are to be remembered in terms of how to. And you definitely can't automate without processes because automation requires explicit instructions. If those instructions don't exist, then automation won't have anything to execute. So process is really on the floor level. Everything else that you do in your business stands on it. And not all process documentation is created equal. There are 3 levels, and most people stop at the wrong one. Level 1 is just a simple checklist, right? A list of steps. Do this, then this, then this, and so on. It's better than nothing. But it only works when things go right. Level 2 is more of the SOP, right? Standard operating procedure, more robust protocol. You have steps and maybe some other advice like failure modes, right? If something breaks down, do this instead of that. Now you've got a bit more of a system to handle common problems. This is where most businesses should live. All right, level 3 is more of a playbook, the multiple SOPs that are connected by decision logic. If it's client type A, do this. If it's client type B, do this. And so when you're scaling and handling volume and variations, knowing how to parse your way through a business's complex operations is key, right? So get a checklist down if you have nothing, right? A checklist that you actually use beats a robust playbook that just lives in a drawer somewhere. Now, most service providers that I work with don't even have level 1 yet. They're at level 0, everything being in their head. And that jump from level 0 to level 1 is probably the biggest improvement you'll ever make in your business. Everything after that is just refining. And so what are the 5 most important processes to document first? We don't need to document everything, right? Just start with the 5 things that, actually touch your money and your clients. So how do you get clients, right? A lead comes in and what happens next? Every step until they either buy or don't. If you can't write this down, then you're relying on instinct for revenue, which isn't going to work in the long term. Next is how do you onboard clients? When your payment is received, what happens in that first 48 hours, right? This is an important task that I've written down because it's one of the ones that you can delegate first. How do you actually deliver the work, right? What clients pay for? What are the steps? What are the inputs you need? What does done look like? This is usually the hardest thing because it can feel like it depends, but it doesn't. There is a core element that is repeatable, and you need to find it. Also important is the actual process for getting paid, right? If your invoice is created, sent, followed up on, received, reconciled, all of that sounds simple, but I've seen consultants leave tens of thousands on the table because their invoicing process was, I'll get to it whenever I remember. And how do you end engagements? Do you have a sequence for clean exits, for offboarding? Right? If you have a final deliverable, do you give feedback, ask for referrals? Do you have documentation to hand off? This is a part of the customer experience that you don't want to just leave on the table. And so let me handle a few things that you might be thinking right now, like your work is too creative to document. No, it's not, right? The creative part, your strategies, your custom solutions, that is important and it stays with you. But the delivery of that, once you have something unique that you've created, does have repeatable steps. There are patterns in the way that you structure proposals, or that you always run through discovery calls in the same way, right? You can always deliver these things in a similar format in a way that you can document those repeatable parts and still let the creative parts breathe. You might say, oh, I don't have time to document, right? But what you really don't have time is not to. Every hour that you explain something over and over again, or have to redo something, right? Or recover after dropping the ball, that's the cost of not documenting. 10 minutes of writing an SOP can save 10 hours of re-explaining. You might think, oh, something will be outdated by the next month. Good, then you update it, right? Having living documents that evolve is infinitely better than having no document at all. Your processes change, so should your documentation. That's not a bug, right? That is how systems work. So here's what I want you to do. Pick one of the processes that I've discussed here in this video, set a timer for 10 minutes, and write down, in the context of your business, the trigger, what starts that process, the steps, what happens in order, start to finish, the failure modes, what could go wrong at each of those particular steps, and find a good name for it, something that you'll actually remember. A messy process map at the beginning is fine, right? Being incomplete is fine, but on the way to greater success, this will be an essential tool for you to have in your tool belt. So it's 10 minutes, right? Just one process you need to document. And I have more content on my channel that can go deeper into the how-to, but the important thing is to get started and to take action. And if you want to know which of those 8 systems you have is the weakest, right? Not just your process systems, but the other parts of your business that are essential to doing what you do, you can take my free scorecard at the link in the description. And I also have some free templates that are pre-built so that you're not starting from blank. And you can grab that bundle at the link in the description as well.